Hey, everybody. It is Eric Green from Tax Rep Network. Thank you all for listening again to this week's podcast. I want to tell you, we only ever have products that we pitch that we actually use. Okay, so basically, we've used these two products, and then I went to the companies and said, "Hey, we love your product." Um, Again, the two products that we use, Call ENQ and Tax Help Software. What Call ENQ does is you dial up, you will get through to the IRS in under 3 minutes, and most often in under 30 seconds. You will get right through. You will save, and I'm not kidding you, at our firm, we believe we're going to save at least $50,000 of billable time by not sitting on the phone, waiting for someone at the IRS to pick up, getting the quote unquote courtesy hang up. That is actually what they call it, where you call up and at the end of the day, they just simply hang up on you, or they tell you their system is down. It is unbelievable. It's an unbelievable product. We use it at the firm. I highly recommend you do too. There is a link below out to Call ENQ with a TRN for Tax Rep Network discount code. What will happen is you will get 200 minutes just for our members, our listeners, 200 minutes for $19.95. Okay, trust me when I tell you, you're going to be charging your client, right? $350, $500, $750, whatever you're going to charge to call up and get the first-time penalty abatement. Pull the transcripts, get a hold on collection, whatever it is you're trying to do, instead of waiting 40 minutes, an hour, hour and a half to maybe or maybe not get through. Just like that, 30 seconds, certainly under 3 minutes, you get in, you get it done. This is how you make money doing representation work. So go check out Call ENQ. Same thing, transcript delivery, need to resolve the tax debt. The only software we use, Tax Help Software. We pull our transcripts, we can do our offers, everything is done right in the software. Okay, and we have the special discounts that we've arranged with Roger, one of the founders of Tax Help Software. Check on those links below. Go check this out. You can get a free 2-week trial or get 10% off. And I assure you, it is the only software we use when it comes to tax resolution. All right. So thank you all for listening in. Go check out our sponsors. And I hope you enjoy this week's podcast. Hey, everybody. It is Eric Green. Thank you for joining us at the Tax Rep Network podcast again this week. I'm very excited. Two things. I'm very excited to tell you about a conference I will be speaking at, but also to have this week's guest on. With us is Misty Megia. I've known Misty now for years. She is the Senior Manager, North America Accountant Programs and Education Strategy for T-Sheets. T-Sheets, of course, is now part of Intuit, but T-Sheets was always the fun company that when you went to the conferences was always doing all of the social stuff, right? I mean, you knew where T-Sheets was in the exhibit hall. You just had to listen for them, and you found them. In fact, the first time I had experience with this, I was unaware of T-Sheets Tuesday. So it's a Tuesday morning. I'm sitting there in Florida, and I'm prepping to give this talk, and T-Sheets people are walking in after the other, and finally I dawned on me. I'm like, how many people did T-Sheets bring to this conference? It was T-Sheets Tuesday, so everybody was wearing their T-Sheets T-shirt. But anyway, no, Misty, thank you for coming on. I'm thrilled to have you here. We've talked about doing this for a while, I want you to tell us everything that's kind of going on with T-Sheets, and in particular, and Intuit, in broad terms. But if you're not familiar with T-Sheets, it does more than just time reporting. It also tracks employees. And Misty, I think I've told you this story before, but Don Brolin, who's one of the forensic accountants that we make extensive use of at the firm, and I had an exam where that issue actually became central. And because of T-Sheet software, the audit really got wrapped up the way it should. And so what had happened is we had a client who had a construction company, and what he did is he had multiple crews. So each crew is out at a different location. So he would literally, up until then, would spend his time driving from location to location all day long. right? To keep an eye on all his people. Dawn at some point sets him up with T-sheets, and now he's just tracking everyone electronically. Well, as it turns out, he gets audited, and they pick as a sample from the newer period. And having the software where you can report and you can see everything, that was the end of the issue with the audit, because his record keeping prior to that, let's just say, left a lot to be desired. And the software, software took care of it. And Dawn and I looked at each other afterward and like, I don't see any reason to go telling him about the rest of the stuff. Let's just leave it alone. And we got it closed as a no change audit. And so the software really is terrific. It's sort of, I know you guys always worked with Intuit, but it sort of is very exciting, I'm sure, to now be formally part of the much larger company, many more users. So what has it been like? What has the transition been like?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you telling that story. You would be surprised how many stories we hear like that on a regular basis of buddy punching, where people punch in their friends and stuff. And now that we have facial recognition, that kind of has stopped a lot of that, and paying overtime and all those kind of things. So it's always fun to hear people's personal experience of how it's helped them in one way or another.
In fact, I got to get Matt Rissel on, who was one of the founders of the company, because his story is fascinating. He ran a copy shop. He was telling me this story that he ran a copy shop and sort of started developing this because of issues. And it's become this tremendous company. It really is one of those amazing, what is it? Now I'm going to screw up the saying, but basically the need is the mother of all invention. You need something, so you go and invent something to fix it.
The accounting world is full of amazing people like that. Like, a lot of the developers, I've had a chance to talk to a lot of the CEOs. And really, that's where it came out of. They needed it themselves, so they actually built a product. And hearing Matt, he was like, even my most honest employee was just, writing a couple, like 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there and 20 minutes there. And he's like, I was just crushed.
Yeah, it's what's funny is like the tax rep network itself started because I had for me, it was, I show up, I speak, I get work.
Right.
And to this day, Jeff, me, we show up, we speak, we get work. And that's how you go from 2 people in 4.5 years to 19 people.
Wow.
And we've moved twice. In fact, the growth has actually been a little bit of an issue. But that aside, it was 8 years ago, I had a CPA come up to me and said, if you would teach me to do this, I'd pay you. And I created a training program for that CPA. It got licensed to a company that competes with Intuit. But anyway, got licensed to a company and started being sold all over America. Now I have Tax Rep Network is now a very large community online of people. We have a forum and people are swapping ideas. I have former IRS people that have joined. It's really taken on this life of its own. It's something I never would have thought of. And someone came up and said, hey, if you could do this, I need this. And okay, was it find a need, fill a need kind of thing. But so Intuit, of course, obviously, QuickBooks and it's not a company that normally you think of as far as tax conferences or tax training. They have tax products. They've always had, Lacert, and they have Pro Series and, all these things. But it was never one of those, like for me, when I think about the big tax conferences, Intuit was never one of them.
Right.
And so I found this, one, very exciting, and 2, a little bit flattering that they're doing their first tax conference. And I think you had something to do with this, but I got invited to participate, which is kind of, it's kind of a coup because, Intuit's got what, 400,000, professionals that use their stuff. There are a lot of people they could have gone to, but for those of you who are listening to this, and I will put a link down in the description, Misty, it's, I think, January 16th and 17th. if I'm correct. It's a two-day conference, and it's completely virtual. So you don't need to travel anywhere. There's no expense. You literally log in. And in fact, correct me if I'm wrong, is it free?
It is free. Yep.
You know, so, this is one of those opportunities to go. I mean, I'm sure there'll be some product stuff, but I looked through the agenda. There's a lot of good technical stuff. And I'm very interested to see Intuit moving into this space and to compete in this space. And I think it'll be fascinating to see where this goes. But if you're listening, January 16th and 17th, all right, 2019. So unfortunately, if you listen to it afterward, you've missed it. But it'll be a 2-day virtual conference. Go into the description below. I will have a link on how to go out and register and go check it out. I will be, of course, discussing payroll tax problems, the number one reason why small businesses get into trouble. But it's a very cool agenda. It really is. And so, Misty, are you actually involved in the conference or just kind of assisting? Because I don't know that tax is really your role.
Tax is not my role. And luckily we have a bunch of amazing people like you that I had just happened to know really well to be able to pull in and go, hey, we know this is your expertise. I definitely do not try to teach anything that is outside of my expertise. But this tax season readiness virtual conference, you're right, it's all completely virtual. It is run like a conference. It's kind of fun because you go into sessions, but there's also booths at the conference, virtual booths that you can go in and talk to the staff and everybody that's there. We have the Pro Advisor booth, a T-Sheets booth, a QuickBooks booth, all those kind of things. But then we talk about QuickBooks at year end, 2018 tax reforms and how it impacts your customers. We have tax planning workshops. We have, of course, you, which I'm so glad that you're a part of the whole experience. And then we have classes on creating your tax practice for the future. So a lot of good content.
No, it's very cool. But so how do the booths work? Is it like a virtual chat room?
Exactly. Yeah. So you'll see on online when you log in, and it's actually the day of, you'll see areas to go into sessions. You'll see areas where the expo hall is. So you go to the expo hall, and then all the different companies that are there will have little icons, and you just click on the icon and it's a chat area. There'll be stuff to download. Sometimes they have videos there for you to watch. So it just depends on what that booth wanted to do with their space.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
No, I am. I'm interested in that. Well, just because I'd never thought of the virtual chat rooms, the virtual booths, and I'm kind of now I'm really interested to log in and check it out, because aside from speaking, that is very, very cool. So, we're going to have the conference on the 16th and 17th, and I know Scaling New Heights, which Intuit is also intimately involved in, and I think T-Sheets as well, is in June. Is there anything else Intuit's got going on that probably people should know about?
Well, in the immediate future, because I don't want to speak too far in advance, because then out of sight, out of mind. But
Yep.
we have QuickBooks Connect always in November, which is a phenomenal conference that we put on. But in immediate, on the same week that the tax boot camp is, the virtual tax conference, we actually have a business boot camp. And so they overlap by 1 hour a day. The business boot camp is every day of the week from January 14th to January 18th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we have a ton of classes that are really just about building out your own growth in your own practice. And we've definitely found throughout the years that accounting professionals are so phenomenal at focusing on their clients and helping their clients in every way possible, but sometimes they don't focus on themselves. Yep. And really build their own business as strong as they could be, because they're just so giving and they're constantly out. So we have built an entire week of really just understanding different ways to build your practice. Dawn Brolin, as you were just speaking about earlier, she has a whole building your company's roadmap and how to manage your success strategy. We have Jeannie Roosh, who is doing 5 steps to building an intentional marketing plan for 2019. We have Donnie Shimamoto, who's one of the top thought leaders in the profession. and he is talking about AI and how it will impact the accounting profession in 2019, which I think is going to be a fascinating topic.
Yep.
We have Brittany Brown, who's talking about assessing and onboarding new clients. And then we're finishing the week with Julia Aurora, and she's talking about how to choose your tech stack and how to vet products on a faster rate.
Well, it is. And it's fascinating to me because, up until a few years ago, I didn't go to the exhibit hall. I show up. I'm working. I'm billing hours up in the hotel room. I go down. I speak. I go back to the room.
Right.
And it was the same one where all the T-sheets people are kind of streaming in. I went to the exhibit hall, and I'm blown away by some of the tech that mileage and receipts and the time and inventory. I mean, I'm just trying to rattle off all the stuff. I mean, and there are multiple companies, right? And they're competitors. So it's a little bit. I was a little stunned at how far behind the curve I was as far as what is actually available. And this is the problem with being a lawyer and not necessarily an accountant. But even so, there are a lot of people who don't go to these conferences. They're the local and they kind of deal locally. And I always wonder how many other people are like where I was, where you don't even know this exists.
A lot. It's amazing to me that, you can just take one, like you were talking about expenses, just in that category, there's probably 53 different expense apps out there. And so really, I mean, who has time to sit there and vet and go through every single one of it, kick the tires, try it out? It's incredibly, like when you look at the ecosystem in general, it's like,
Yep.
Panic ensues.
Oh, no, absolutely. No, but I literally, I walked around. I was like, oh, wow. This, no, it's very cool. If by the way, so if you're listening, one, go check out the virtual tax conference. Again, I'll put a link down there. But you probably should get yourself to a QB Connect or a Scaling New Heights and just see again, you walk into the exhibit hall and it's like a football field. I mean, I'm blown away by just the sheer amount of programs and products that there are. And you're right. I mean, that's why the program you talked about, where they're going to help you vet, the different tech, ideas, is so useful because I don't even know where to begin. Well, I know where to begin. Dawn, what am I using? And I'm hoping Dawn is on top of this stuff. And so no, it is very, very cool. And it sounds like you guys have a lot of cool stuff going on. But the virtual tax conference, again, in fact, I got to get my materials done. As we're sitting here thinking about as I'm sitting here thinking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? I got an email today. I got to get those materials done. Yeah, no, it's it really is. It's very, very cool. I'm trying to think what else. So what else does T-Sheets have going on? I mean, the merger, I'm sure, has one, obviously now being formally part of Intuit. I'm sure Intuit has attempted to roll it out to all of its people. What else have you guys been doing? What's changed, I guess, from prior to the merger to now?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm getting this a lot too, and I'm afraid that not really much has changed, which I think is good.
Well, you were always fully integrated anyway.
Right. Yeah. And so for us, a lot of our values like completely aligned. Like when you look at T-Sheets, written up values, their PBR as we call them, and Intuit's mission statements, they are almost the same wording. It's really bizarre. But for the overall experience, just as an employee, I've been through multiple acquisitions now in my lifetime. And so anytime you hear an acquisition, you're like holding your breath. Like, okay, what are we going to have? And as of next week, it'll be 1 year under acquisition. And I will say it's just been delightful. I've had a relationship with Intuit as a company for many years, working with thought leaders in the profession. But it's been and more bandwidth to help your larger visions grow. We have gone in T-Sheets clients. We just hit our 30,000 mark last month,
Wow.
which was a big deal for us to hit that mark. Prior to that, we had about 15, so we almost doubled in just a year.
Wow.
So that was really exciting to see. And we haven't even begun to scratch the surface on the possibilities with Intuit. So we are really excited for this year to be launching, and we're just now getting more energized and kind of looking at the global opportunities and where we can kind of focus on some growth globally. So it's going to be a good 2019 for sure.
It sounds it. It really sounds it. So, so Misty, listen, thank you for joining me. I think this has been terrific, and I am looking forward to the tax conference, the virtual tax conference. And again, if you're listening, I will put a link below there. Go check out the link. It's free. You've got nothing to lose, and the agenda looks very cool. And not because I'm in it, but just the agenda overall.
I disagree. I think it is because you're in it too.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And so, all right, everybody, listen. Thank you for joining me. I'm glad we're kicking off 2019 the right way. Go check out the virtual conference with Intuit. Again, check out the link. Misty, thank you as always for coming on and all your help. And we'll drag you back. We'll drag you back. There's going to be more stuff to talk about.
All right. Thank you. Have a happy new year, everyone.
All right. Thank you. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this week's podcast. If you're interested in building your tax resolution practice, if you're interested in getting into this area, there's been no better time to do it. Go to taxrepllc.com. Check us out. If you want to join in, we are doing a special offer for kick off 2019 properly. Use the code TAXREPGO. All caps, TAXREPGO. No spaces. That will get you $100 off for the first 6 months. Get you started, get you making money, really start building your resolution practice, all right? So thank you all. Keep being excellent. Keep building your practices, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.